our policies in Iraq. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. The public has been led into a trap from which it will be hard to escape with dignity and honor. They've been tricked into it by a steady withholding of information. Baghdad communiques are belated, insincere, incomplete. Things have been far worse than we've been told. Our administration more bloody and inefficient than the public knows. We are today not far from a disaster. That was a letter written to the London Times by Lawrence C. Arabia, July 22nd, 1920. In terms of the Iraq War, I agree with my distinguished former colleague and Vietnam veteran, United States Senator Chuck Hagel, that the war in Iraq is beginning to look a lot like Vietnam. As a matter of fact, I feel like I'm living in a time warp. I've seen a president of the United States declare a threat to our nation and attack a country which did not attack us. The pretext for the invasion was later discovered to be false. The war was Vietnam. The president was Lyndon Johnson. The Secretary of Defense was Robert McNamara. The civilian leadership at the Pentagon was known as the Whiz Kid. The military commander in Vietnam was General William Westmoreland. Now, I'm seeing this movie all over again. I can't stand by silently while thousands of young American soldiers risk their lives again for a no-win, no-end war. Our military personnel, the bravest men and women I've ever seen, go into harm's way for this country. Again, this is a time warp for me. We went into Vietnam mostly alone. We came out solely alone. We went into Iraq virtually alone. And now with Prime Minister Tony Blair talking about pulling out his troops next year from Iraq, we're on our own again. Like Vietnam, in Iraq, we dissed the UN and our NATO allies, the very people we need for help in an exit strategy now. As distressing as our current situation is, we still have time to make sure Iraq does not end like Vietnam. We need an exit strategy we choose, or it will certainly be chosen for us. The question about Iraq is not whether we will withdraw our forces, but when. More than 100 members of the Iraqi parliament have urged the U.S. to fully withdraw its military forces from Iraq. It is now time to seek what international support we can get for our withdrawal. We need to map out a strategy that works for us and turn Iraq over to the Iraqis. I agree with former White House terrorism advisor Richard Clarke, who in his book Against All Enemies stated that attacking Iraq after 9/11 was like attacking Mexico after Pearl Harbor. It made no sense whatsoever. The second big challenge our country faces is to rebuild a number of our cities and at least 3 of our states after Hurricane Katrina. We cannot do this as long as we continue to make Iraq the 51st state. It is time we looked after our own backyard. We are spending more money in Iraq than rebuilding New Orleans, Biloxi, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. It's time to bring our troops home, especially the National Guard, who was created to guard America and to deal with disasters in our own country rather than being sent to die in the desert in Iraq. It is time to put America first. Iraq does not have to be another Vietnam. The war in Iraq does not have to drag on forever. It is not too late to learn from our own history. Why do I urge this course of action for our nation now? Because I've seen this movie before. I know how it ends.